The University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh Fox Cities campus assists the City of Menasha with video recordings of city meetings. Menasha residents and interested parties can get information about city meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents from the city website, www.cityofmenasha-wi.gov. To express opinions about City of Menasha issues or these broadcasts, contact the Mayor's office, 920-967-3608. Contact a City Alderman. Contact information appears on the website. Or complete the electronic feedback form on the City website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited.
Okay, good evening. I'd like to call the City of Menasha Common Council meeting to order. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could have the roll, please.
Alderman Eisenach. Here. Alderman Sepnick. Here. Alderman Hammond. Here. Alderman Lewis. Here. Alderman Tom Grady. Here. Alderman Ted Grady. Here. Alderman Rapella. Here. All are present with the exception of Alderman Lewis. Thank you. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes. Hello. Yes.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda is the report of department head, staff, and consultants. We have minutes and communications to receive this evening. Do we have a motion? Alderman Sevenick.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I'd like for us to receive minutes A through H and communications I through L.
There's a motion and a second by Alderman Grady. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Are there any opposed? The motion carries. Item F is public comments on any matter of concern to the city. If you'd like to speak, if you could just come up to the microphone, state your name and address, and you'd have up to 5 minutes to speak. And hopefully press the button in the front. And
Hold on, just leave it. The Wi-Fi.
well, no one turned it on before the meeting, so all of a sudden it will.
No, try it.
Just press it again now. It should work. There we go.
Hello.
Perfect. You are all set.
Okay,
Erin.
great. Hi, I am Erin Culligan. I live at 377 Nassau Street. Last week, I spoke before the Park Council. I am on the Doty Island Development Council, and we proposed a dog walk on September 10th from noon to 2 in Shepherd's Park. So wherever people live on the island, anybody's welcome. You don't have to live on the island. And then we would walk as a meetup place to Shepherd's Park. The parks don't allow dogs. We're hoping that you would give us the okay to do this. It would be a 2-hour event. We know that they have to be on leashes of 6 feet or less, and I would go around and make sure that no debris is left. And why would we do this? It is a community event to get to know your neighbors and take your dog for a walk. Any questions? Oh, you can't ask questions. Anyway, I hope you approve it. If you don't, I guess our backup is that we're going to ask Nina, but I live and work in Menasha, and my heart is here, and I really would like to have it be in a Menasha park. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is item 5 on the agenda a little bit later on. Anyone else this evening?
Chris Stevenson, 523 Broad Street. Just to give you the River Rat update report on the bridge. We still have the clunking sound. Seems to actually be getting worse. I wanted to thank Alderman Sevenick for coming out to our residence. He actually listened to the noise, so we appreciate his involvement. Also, the safety cable that was now put out with buoys to to assist boaters in distress from going over the dam. The cable, instead of riding through the center of the barrels, which it was designed to do, is down on the water, and it's collecting seaweed and other debris that's going to come down the river. It's also going to be really difficult for any boat in distress to access the cable to prevent the danger that it's intended to guard. Talking to Mike Taylor, who actually witnessed this going in, he said when the cable was pulled taut, the support for the cable actually bent on both stretches of this cable. And that's why the federal authorities decided that they would just stop the cable there where it's laying on the water. But it's not the way it was designed, and it doesn't provide the safety that was intended by the design. Lastly, there are still very few boats using the alternative navigation channel, and that's what it was designed for, was to eliminate the bridge having to go up. So I don't know if it's something that needs to be communicated to the marina people, that they can take their antennas down and use this. If you need to do a timed bridge opening on the hour and on the half hour to limit the traffic that's going through, because you're at times really backing up the traffic on the bridge itself. So just so you have that update.
Thanks, Chris. We are aware of the cable, and we have been talking to the Coast Guard about that. Is there anyone else this evening?
Hi, my name is Bethany Gingler. I live at 210 Water Street, and I previously spoke to the Common Council last year regarding slumlord Asher Jacobson, who is buying up properties on Water Street and in other parts of Menasha, and repeatedly harassing me and other neighboring residents to chase us out so that he can purchase additional properties. Asher has trespassed on my property, broken down my front fence, vandalized my rear fence, and repeatedly sprayed Roundup into my yard, causing large patches of dead grass and making my dogs sick. Asher regularly stores unregistered junk vehicles at his rental property next door to me rather than at his own house on 1st Street, although he started parking the vehicles in reverse so that I'm unable to take photos of the license plates to report them. I've also been forced to live next door to a giant, unstacked, rotting pile of lumber for 3 years that regularly attracts rabbits, rats, and other animals. When I reported that to code enforcement, Asher covered the pile with a tarp, which is apparently all you have to do to violate city code in Menasha. Unfortunately, I'm unable to bring legal action against Asher because I'm in a rent-to-own contract and the house won't legally be in my name until it's paid off in 3 years. Today, I'm here to talk to you about Asher's recent decision to place a giant, rusty shipping container on the property next to mine. In April, the City of Neenah passed an ordinance related to portable storage containers, which includes shipping containers. I have been unable to locate any similar ordinance in Menasha. Today, I'd like to ask the council to consider passing an ordinance related to these containers that sets a limit on the time and area that they can be located. Neenah's ordinance only allows temporary placement of these containers for no more than 120 days in a calendar year. It also limits container placement to a hard surface behind the principal structure and outside yards, building setbacks, or buffer areas. Common Council members, please consider passing a similar ordinance in Menasha. Please don't make me spend the next 5 years living next door to a rusting shipping container filled with junk. Because if you don't consider an ordinance on these containers, that's exactly what I and other neighboring residents and Asher's own tenants have to look forward to in the future. Thank you for your consideration.
Thanks. Do we have contact info for you, Bethany?
I did sign up on the sheet out.
Okay, great. Thank you. We should be discussing, but we do have some ordinances. I'm not sure exactly if it's shipping containers or trailers. So anyone else that would like to speak this evening?
Hello, my name is Sandy Corey. I am a new
resident of Menasha as of 2 years ago. This is my husband, Danny. We purchased a home on Brighton Drive. We would like to, with 16 of our neighbors here today, discuss the condition of the channel on Brighton Drive. We have a neighborhood petition that our neighbors have signed to clean up the channel. Our petition is to urgently address the dire situation regarding the stagnant water in our beloved channel. The current state of this once vibrant body of water is not only an eyesore, but also poses a significant threat to our health and well-being. The channel's water is turned into a toxic green sludge that emits a foul smell reminiscent of a swamp. This alarming condition prevents us from enjoying our waterfront properties that we have invested heavily in. We pay substantial taxes to live on the waterfront, expecting clean and enjoyable surroundings for ourselves and our families. We, the undersigned, are concerned citizens who urge our leaders to act now, restore the health of the Menasha Channel along Brighton Drive. I know the health department is informed about this, and they are looking into it. The DNR is also involved in looking into it, but as citizens of Menasha, we would like to just make you guys aware that this is turning into a toxic water area. I happen to be a nurse, one with asthma, so this bad blue algae bacteria that's growing in the water is detrimental to my health. I was told there's a pump that operates the water when we bought the property, but that is not the case. It's not cleaning up the water at all, and it sits there. So I and 16 of my neighbors today showed up to see if we could get any farther or that you guys could talk about this. We also provided some possible solutions. We did a lot of research. It devalues the community, our properties, and tourism to our area. I can tell you for a fact, my neighbor rents her property, and the last renters who were there came over and talked to us and said they would never rent there again due to the water condition. That was just this last week, they're renters. So I just want to leave this petition for whoever.
Bring it up here, and we have been in touch with the health department and with Menasha Utilities. And we are looking at the situation. We understand that it's an awful situation right now, and there are some other channels that are also have issues, so we need to look at what we can do and what we can't do as far as the DNR is concerned and what's going to have an actual impact. So we will get in touch with, I don't know if there's a specific person. Should we talk with you?
Sure.
Okay.
I second.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak this evening? Seeing no one else, then we'll move on to the consent agenda. Alderman Sevenik?
Thank you, Mayor. Just to help out the gallery, because I know this is probably the first time some of you have been here, but just so you know, when you bring something forward, it has to be placed on a future agenda. We can't just talk about or discuss it, so don't feel like we're not doing anything. That's about the open meetings law, because then the rest of the public didn't get to be involved. So we hear you. I've dealt with this issue almost every, 4 or 5 years. It gets, especially when it doesn't rain for a while. So I feel your pain, because we had Sarah that was telling us she couldn't even watch her fireworks out her back door because of the stink. So we'll have this for the agenda for our next meeting and put the appropriate department heads in contact. With that, Mayor, if we did close the public comment area, as far as the consent agenda, I would make a motion, but Alderman Nichols has some changes. So at this time, I would like to move for the Common Council approval of the minutes of 6/19/23.
Is there a second? Second. So motion and a second. Alderman Nichols, does the clerk already have your amendments? I understand they're technical.
Yes, the clerk has my amendments. It was a simple change to item L1 as to how the motion to postpone was recorded in the minutes, the vote tally, that is. So it will now read that the motion failed 3-4.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for listening. So we'll make the motion will be for the Common Council approval, Common Council minutes as corrected then. Were there any others?
I have some.
And I turned on your mic, Alderman Nichols. You want me to? or do
I'm
you have more?
finished, thank you.
You are finished, okay. Alderman Sevenick?
Yes, I noticed that during the roll call, Alderman Ted Grotti, Tom Grotti, and Rapella have been at the meeting more than once. So if you look at that, it's their names. You did tell Val, okay. So just so that that can be corrected in the future. I know when you do the computer thing and you start it, it automatically fills and things like that, so, all right.
Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Item 2 is the Board of Public Works recommendations. Alderman Sevenick?
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I'd like for us to approve payment to Don Hippis and Son Construction Incorporated, MCM 09-2200335. This is the 2023 sanitary sewer and water main reconstruction. This amount is $89,470, and this would be the fourth payment.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Motion carries 7-0.
Item 3 is the Neenah Menasha Fire Rescue Joint Finance and Personnel recommendations. Do we have a motion? Whoops, Alderman Sevenick.
Yep, thank you, Mayor. We met, was it last week? And it was unanimous between both Neenah Menasha's councils that the recommended formula for the 2024 cost distribution with the city of Neenah's share would be 60.34%, and the city of Menasha would be 39.66. What this is the percent that we pay to the city of Neenah because we have a joint fire department.
So motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Motion carries 7-0.
Item 4 is the Plan Commission recommendations. Do we have a motion? Alderman Grotti?
Thank you, Mayor.
There we go.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I'd like to recommend to the council the approval of the certified survey map as presented, consolidating 252 Kaukauna Street, parcel number 2-00038-00, and Kaukauna Street vacant lot, parcel number 2-00039-00.
Is there a second? It's a motion and a second by Alderman Hammond. Any discussion? Do you have any discussion, Tom? Seeing none, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Motion carries 7-0.
The next item is the Park and Recreation Board recommendations. Do we have a motion? Alderman Grotti.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I'd like to make the motion to approve the Doty Island development request to use Shepherd Park on September 10th, 2023, for the period of noon till 2 p.m. for the Doty Island Dog Walk Gathering.
Is there a second? There's a motion and a second. I'm not sure which one you picked. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Motion carries 7-0.
Item I is action items. The first is the accounts payable and payroll. Do we have a motion? Can you hit the little button that says plus over there? Alderman Nichols?
Thank you, Mayor. Move to approve the accounts payable and payroll for the term of June 22nd through July 13th, 2023, in the amount of $2,529,262.37.
Is there a second? So motion and a second. Any discussion? Alderman Sevenick?
Thank you, Mayor. Jennifer, I called Jennifer today about 9 items, and there were a few that you had to get back to me on. Did you email those to me, or? Okay, so I can just call you tomorrow or something. Okay.
Seeing no further discussion, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Motion carries 7-0.
Item 2 is the liquor license. Do we have a motion? Alderman Nichols?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll move for the approval of the Class B and Class B liquor and malt license for Dreams Venue and Events, LLC, at 325 Broad Street, Menasha, for the term of July 17th, 2023 through June 30th, 2024.
Is there a second? Second. So motion and a second by Alderman Grady. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Motion carries 7-0.
Item 3 is a beverage operator's license that has been recommended for deferral. I don't know if we want to hear from the chief or the attorney first, and is Ms. Singleton here this evening? I believe she is not. Alderman Nichols?
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to ask Chief Thorne some questions before making a motion.
Sure.
Thank you. This individual has some very old convictions on their record. They're over 20 years old. Is there anything that they also have, I believe, they also have some other things listed on their application. And all of those things listed on the application are also really old as well, but they're not addressed in the actual letter that was sent as reasons for deferral. So do you just clarify why some are listed in the letter and some are not?
Sure. So the applicant, Victoria, the reason for the deferral was the most significant related events that would apply to the guidelines established by the Common Council, specifically guideline number 1, where it would prohibit an applicant for receiving an application based on a prior felony conviction. She had been charged with 2 felony level crimes in 2003, party to a crime burglary, party to a crime aggravated battery. Since that point in time, she's had a few miscellaneous driving offenses. However, based on the guidelines where it would put it out to 5 years roughly, there would not be anything which would follow suit or be applicable for us to note in the letter which was provided. There was a few OWIs, one in 2002, I believe, 2001. And otherwise, she's had a few other driving related offenses, but nothing significant, which we wanted to point out, which is why we wanted to make the deferral.
Thank you. And for the city attorney, I know I always ask the same question. I feel like a broken record sometimes, but these offenses are dating back 20 years. And so we have some provisions in our guidelines to allow for some discretion in this area, correct?
Yes, that's right. And there's no specific time frame indicated in the guidelines, just that if council chooses to believe that a significant amount of time has passed and that the offenses are not substantially related to the bartender or operator's license, those would be the factors that I would be looking for.
Thank you. Seeing as a significant time has passed and the offenses are not directly related to the operator's license, I move for the approval of the beverage operator's license for Victoria Singleton.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, if we could have a roll call vote, please. Oh, sure. Yes.
Thank you.
And
I'm going to abstain from voting since I hold a liquor license.
Oops. The motion is for approval. Yes. And this is just for the first person, just for Victoria.
Motion carries 6-0, one abstention.
We also have a recommended deferral for Thomas Kaufman. I don't believe that Mr. Kaufman is here either. Does anyone have questions for the chief or the attorney regarding this position, this operator's license, or would someone like to make a motion? Yes. Whoops.
This applicant is actually recommended for denial in the third paragraph of his
Oh,
letter.
I'm sorry. But still, you would make the decision if you wanted to deny or approve it.
Yes. These, well, Chief, I'll let you explain why it's recommended for denial.
So this particular applicant, he has two pending charges rather for second-degree sexual assault of a child, Class C felony. The background investigation by Lieutenant Sawyer, he indicated that he didn't feel as though the applicant was necessarily being truthful, and therefore that was why he had indicated guideline 4. However, noteworthy because there is pending felony level charges, it would also be indicative for guideline number 1 as well. So.
Thank you, Chief. And in looking at his application, to question number 1, do you currently have any criminal charges pending against you? He answered no. And so he did lie on his application. And because of that, I move for the denial of the beverage operator's license for Thomas Kaufman.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? And Alderman Eisenach, you wish to abstain, correct? Okay. No problem. Seeing no further discussion, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Motion carries for denial, 6-1. One abstention. 6-0.
Item L is appointments. There are 3 appointments this evening. I'm not sure who was first. Alderman Sevenick?
Oh, Austin can take it, but I just had a question before we do make a motion, and that is that I'd like for this to come back in ordinance form. I think the term is too long.
For Housing Authority?
Yes. So,
Director Schrader, could you check and see if that is set by statute or if that's set by ordinance? We'll have to look and see.
I'm sure it was our own ordinance. Go ahead.
Alderman Hammond?
All right, thank you, Mayor. I would like to make a motion. Is it okay if I combine the two because they're both Housing Authority? All right. I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the mayor's reappointment of Michael Keenan and Christine Coop to the Housing Authority for the term of 7-17 of 23 to 7-1 of 28.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Are there any opposed? The motion carries. And then we'd also have item 3. Alderman Sevenick?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll move for your appointment of Tim Jacobson to the Board of Appeals This term is from 7/17/23 to 2/1/26.
It's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Are there any opposed? The motion carries. Item N is public comment. Is there anyone who wishes to make a comment? Seeing none, I would accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second.
All those in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you.
The University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh Fox Cities campus assists the City of Menasha with video recordings of city meetings. Menasha residents and interested parties can get information about city meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents from the city website, www.cityofmenasha-wi.gov. To express opinions about City of Menasha issues or these broadcasts, contact the Mayor's office, 920-967-3608. Contact a city alderman. Contact information appears on the website. Or complete the electronic feedback form on the city website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited.